Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Okay. All right. So we are in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. And the last time we covered up to verse number 33. So let us read from 29 and then we will go forward today. Okay? So we can read together. Ashcharyavat pashyati kaschidенам Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah Ashcharyavat chainam anya shrunoti Shrutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit Tehi nityam avadhyoyam Tehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi swadharmamapi chavekshya navikampitum arhasi dharmyadi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate yadrichaya chopapannam Swargadwaramapavritam Sukhinah Kshatriyah Partha Labhante Yuddhamidrisham Atachettvamimam dharmyam Sangramam nakarishyasi Tataswadharmam kirtim cha Hitva papamavapsyasi. Okay, so what we saw last week was Lord Krishna, after having gone through all of the standpoints of why Arjuna should not grieve from the standpoint of the self, then the standpoint of the Jivatma, or what we call the soul, from the standpoint of the Deha, or the body, he says, Arjuna, I know it's hard, it's a little bit difficult to get, and this whole thing is a wonder. So in verse 29, we saw how this whole thing is a wonder. Ashcharyavat pashyati kaschidena. So enam, this atma, this self itself is a wonder. That something is there that exists in us, that pure being, that pure awareness, which is free here and now. That's a wonder. The one who's able to realize this subtle truth is also a wonder, because it's not easy. Then Ashcharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya. The one who's able to speak this truth also is a wonder, because how do you communicate something that words cannot reach? So, and that guru who has reached that heights of this wisdom, what's going to make that guru want to speak even? So the speaker itself is a wonder. And then it says, Ashcharyavat chenam anya shrunoti. The speakers are also a wonder. There's so many temptations outside, so many things that people would want to do. But there's still people who come to listen to this truth. That's a wonder. And having listened to this, Shadvapyenam, Vedana Chaiva Kaschit, they do not also get it as a wonder. How many times will it take for us to listen to it? So this whole knowledge, he says, Arjuna, is a wonder. So I understand why it can be difficult. It's an ashcharya. Then he says, in verse number 30, he said to us that now I have told you everything, right? That the indweller of this body, this dehi, is indeed, it's nitya, it's eternal, and it's avadhya. Avadhya means it's indestructible. Therefore, there's no need for you to grieve. Then from verses 31 to 33, he talks from the standpoint of dharma. He says, okay, Arjuna, let us look at it this way. Let us look at it from the standpoint of dharma. Okay, another new standpoint. Why did he do this? Why did Lord Krishna do this? This shows the beauty of Lord Krishna, who remembers what Arjuna was thinking. In chapter 2, verses 4, 5, and 6, Arjuna says, I cannot do this. He says, I cannot fight because I cannot fight my gurus. So I'll tell you what exactly he says. In verse 4, he says, how can I fight in battle against Bhishma and Drona? They are fit to be worshipped. He says this. And then in verse 5, he says, better indeed is to be a bhikshu, to eat the bread of beggary than to slay the teachers. And if I kill them, everything will be surrounded with blood. All my desires or my wealth will be stained with blood. And so he says, I don't know what to do. Should we fight? Should we win or should they win? I'm confused. So these were the things that Arjuna said in the beginning, in chapter 2 itself. And Lord Krishna said, I want to make sure that's clear in your mind. So he speaks from the standpoint of Swadharma. So we see in verse number 31, Lord Krishna says, even from the standpoint of Swadharma, your own Swadharma, you should not shake. You should not shake because this is a very righteous war. In this war, a Kshatriya who gets such a war, they only should be in joy. They should only rejoice because that is the opportunity for them to actually perform their Swadharma. That's what they've been training their whole lives to do. And he says further in 32, he says, this just came unasked. Yadrichaya cha upapannam. And if you do fight this, the gates of heaven will be open for you. So why are you thinking otherwise? And then we started in verse 33 last week. He says, Atachit. But if imam dharmyam, this war, this righteous war, imam dharmyam sangramam. Dharmyam means righteous. Sangramam means war. Na karishyasi. If you don't want to do it, then what happens? Tataha, then swadharmam kirtim cha. Your swadharma and your kirti, your fame, hitva, having dropped it, papam avapsyasi. You will gain sin. You will commit sin. So first of all, what is this war? This war, imam dharmyam sangramam, this war has already begun. It's already begun. And not that you just kind of thought, okay, we're going to fight. This has been there for 13 years of exile. This is why you went to do tapasya. This is all, why all of you did so much disciplinary practices throughout those 13 years. Because in case something like this comes up, you would be prepared. So this war was there. It is already begun. And you already blew your conch. Bhishma blew the conch. You already blew the conch. So this war is already there. So what are you speaking of? And he says that this is your swadharma. So as I explained to you, swadharma here means your own duty in this world according to your aptitude. So his aptitude is that of a ruler. So we have those Varnas, which we will take in detail in chapter 4. But he's a Kshatriya, which means he has the aptitude of a ruler. Now, please don't mistake Swadharma as a profession. It's not a profession, it's your aptitude. So if you have an aptitude of a Kshatriya, you could be a soldier, you could be a policeman or woman, you could be a politician, you could be an administrator, you could get, or you could have various fields for your expression. But Swadharma doesn't mean career. Swadharma just means that's your natural aptitude. That's what you are, that's inherent in you. It's there in you. So therefore, in life, it's better if that particular Varna is your field of expression. It's better if that rulership is your field of expression, because that's your aptitude. So that is your aptitude. And in doing so, when we engage in the field of our aptitude, what happens is we become cleansed of our vasanas. Our vasanas have a chance to exhaust. Does your aptitude determine your Swadharma or the other way around? Your aptitude is your Swadharma. That is your Swadharma. So some people will have the aptitude of a nurturing nature. Some people will have an aptitude of seeking. Some will have an aptitude of silence. Some will have an aptitude of giving, of being like a missionary. So this Swadharma is also your vasana. So it's very clear in Puja Gurudev's commentary. He says here, the bundle of the vasanas with which an individual has arrived in this life, in his or her incarnation, is called Swadharma. So your vasanas are your Swadharma, and they're also your aptitude, right? They're your natural, they're just your natural tendency, because it's been there for a while, for a long time. So therefore, it's not a career, but it's your vasanas, your tendencies, your aptitude. And since Arjuna had this kind of aptitude, this is the best field for him to express it. Because if we don't express our aptitudes in life, what happens is they will be suppressed. And then we will just incur other vasanas and other vasanas and other vasanas. And there will never be an end to it. And the whole science is to exhaust our vasanas in a selfless way so that we can go beyond them. So Lord Krishna was very clear and said, you must do your Swadharma. This is what's natural to you. You must do it. Of course, from the absolute standpoint, our ultimate Swadharma, when we use Swadharma in this meaning, that which makes us what we are, is Atma, or the self. But in the standpoint of our body, mind, intellect, our Swadharma would be our vasanas expressing through them. Okay. So now we will move on. Otherwise, we will take up more Swadharma questions after. Okay. But they are the same. Vasana, aptitude, Swadharma, they are the same thing. They are the same thing. What you practice, what you repeat over a period of time becomes your aptitude, right? So they are the same in that way. Now, he says, if you don't fight, hitva, you are going to not do your Swadharma. You won't perform your Swadharma. Not only that, but your fame, you will also have left your fame. You will let go of your fame. And you have great fame. Arjuna has great fame all over, not only in Manushyas, not only in beings, but amongst the Devatas, amongst the Rishis. You have great fame. You will let go of your fame. So therefore, you will incur this papa, this what we call sin. So one form of this papa or sin is that you will not express your vasana or your tendency. That is one form of papa, right? When we don't express that. Second form of papa is when we don't do our dharma. I had explained to you that there is the sin of omission, pratyavaya dosha. I could not find the Sanskrit for the sin of commission, but the sin of or omission is what's mentioned here, pratyavaya dosha. If we do not do that, what we're supposed to do, then also we get papa. Now, what is this papa in these terms? Gurudev says very beautifully, we're not punished for our sins, but by our sins. And what he means by that is that papa is an agitation. You know, when you and I don't do something that we're supposed to do, what happens? We get agitated, right? You know, oh my gosh, Gita class, I'm supposed to be there at a certain time, but I was late, you know, like there's an agitation, right? Or I was supposed to call this person and I was supposed to do this task, but I couldn't do it. There's an agitation. And when these agitations come in our mind, when we're supposed to do something, but we didn't do it, it brings us down. It doesn't make us focus or concentrate, because this agitation comes to us as guilt. It takes the form of guilt then. And when we have guilt surrounding us, it's very hard to focus on the bigger picture. We're always kind of bogged down about something. So in this way, this pratyavaya dosha is also a big thing. You know, when we have a duty towards our parents, we have a duty towards a family, towards our community. When we don't perform that, we feel that agitation, and that bogs us down. So he tells Arjuna in this verse, if you don't want to fight this war, you will incur this kind of sin. The sin of not expressing your inherent tendency, and the sin of also not doing what you're supposed to do. So therefore, perform it. And you will also let go of your swadharma, and you let go of your fame. So now, in this way, from verses 31 to 33, what happens is Lord Krishna takes up the topic of dharma. From the standpoint of dharma, this is why you should engage in war. Now, you know, Lord Krishna is also coming to Arjuna's level. He knows Arjuna as a student. For a warrior, for a soldier, for a king, a queen, you know, a prince, a princess, something that's really important to them is their reputation. So now Lord Krishna is also going to speak from the worldly standpoint, because he also wants to come to Arjuna's level and say, even from this level, you must fight. And so these are the verses 34 to 36. So I'll read 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani.
Akirtim cha api bhutani.
Katayishyanti te vyayam.
Kathayishyanti te vyayam.
Sambhavitasya cha kirtihi.
Sambhavitasya cha kirtihi.
Maranadatirichyate.
Maranad atirichyate.
Akirtim chapi bhutani. Kathayishyanti te vyayam. Sambhavitasya cha kirtihi. Maranadatirichyate. So what he says here, Arjuna, bhutani. Bhutani means these beings, and many, many beings. These beings, what will happen? Katayishyanti. They will speak. They will speak. About what? Akirtim, about your ill fame. These beings will speak about your ill fame. And how? Avyayam means your everlasting ill fame. Everlasting. For a long time, they will speak about your ill fame. And sambhavitasya, of somebody who is very honorable. Akirti maranad atirichyate. Akirti means dishonor is greater than death. Maranad means from death or than death. Atirichyate is greater than death. So how we translate this is, People too will recount your everlasting dishonor, and to one who has been honored, dishonor is more than death. So now see this Arjuna, how many beings worship him? How many beings admire him? Oh, that his father Indra admires him because he helped Indra. At one time he went to meet Indra. I hope you remember in Mahabharata. He went to meet Indra and he helped Indra fight all of Indra's enemies. And then he also is Bhagavan Shiva also loves him because he went to do tapasya, remember? And he got that Pashupatastra from Lord Shiva. Not only that, but Bhagavan Vyasa also extols him. Sri Krishna loves him. His brothers love him. So all of these people, the Bhishma, Drona, all of them love him. So all of them think so highly of him. And what will happen to all of that? They will speak of his ill fame everlasting. Now you see, the thing with life is, it's a sad fact that even if a person does so much good in their life, and they may have spent so many years doing so many good things, they do one small bad thing, and that is it. They are known by that thing. It is like a stain on them. It's like a scarlet letter. This was the person who did this to their job. This is the person who did this to their family. This is the person who did this in their life. This is the person who ran from the battlefield. So that people are known by that one spot. This is human nature. This is human nature, that with so many wonderful things about a person, a being, but that one spot takes away everything. And that's how we have this stars who fell from grace. There's these famous athletes, there's stars, there's musicians, there's artists. They're so wonderful. Their careers are wonderful. They write beautiful music, poetry, books, movies. The one thing that they do, everything's gone. Everything's gone. Huh? That one, at one point that Live Strong, that band was so famous. And then what happened to that Lance Armstrong? After they found out whatever he did, then that whole thing collapsed, isn't it? So this thing happens. And that's why when people say, can you give me current day examples of this? I always hesitate because something some scandal might happen to that person. I better not take their name because we never know. It's better to take the name in Shastra, then it's pure, it's Shuddha. But if we take the name of some superstar, rock star, and all of that, it's okay sometimes, but we never know what will happen. Those people who you think that were so wonderful, something or together, they fall. So in this way, when people talk, they'll really talk. And that stain will be there for a long time. People will remember you by that only. We also talk like that. Oh, that was that person who left his company like that. Yeah, we remember him. Or that was the girl who left her family like that. Yeah, we remember. They'll speak like this only. And that ill fame won't stay only with us. They'll stay with the whole lineage of family. So it will stay with a person's children and their grandchildren. The whole thing, it will go. So Lord Krishna becomes very practical here. He says, your kirti, your reputation is very precious, and of all of us. And whenever we belong to a community, a family, it is our dharma to uphold that reputation. That is our dharma. We cannot bring it down. If we're part of a company, and that they have a particular motto or a code of conduct, we have to uphold that. We have that responsibility. So he says it is very precious. You cannot just let it go. That's why, then when I started reflecting on this verse more, that's why our parents probably would say, what will people say? What will people say if you do this? Who's going to marry you? Who's going to hire you? Nobody will do it if you do this. Because their kirti, they held it in such high esteem. So he says, katayishyanti avyayam. They'll go on and on and on talking about you. And for a warrior, somebody who's honored, sambhavitasya, dishonor is, it's worse than death. See, when somebody dies, that pain, it will come and then you die. But the dishonor, people, that shame is harder to live with. It's because it goes on and on and on. That death of pain, it's one shot, done. The death of dishonor, it goes on and on. That's why, especially with warriors, I'm saying in terms of warriors especially, that's why some warriors, they don't like to be captured. They don't like the other enemy to take them. They say, you just kill me because I don't want that dishonor, right? So he said, this is what it is for your own fame. Look at it from that standpoint. So Arjuna got hit a little bit. But Lord Krishna said, let me hit you a little bit more, a little bit more. So here, verse 35. Bhayadranat uparatam.
Bhayadranat uparatam.
Mansyante tvam maharathaha.
Mansyante tvam maharathaha.
Yesham chatvam bahumataha.
Yesham chatvam bahumataha.
Bhutva yasyasi laghavam.
Bhutva yasyasi laghavam.
Bhayadranat uparatam. Mansyante tvam maharathaha. Yesham chatvam bahumataha. Bhutva yasyasi laghavam. So he says, now look, especially look at the Maharathas, the great commanders. The Maharathas, mansyante, they will think tuam, they will think that you, uparatam, you ran from ranat, you ran from the battlefield, bhayat, out of fear. So even the Maharathas, the great warriors, they'll think you ran from the battlefield out of fear. And Yesham, of those Maharathas, Tvam Bahumataha Bhutva, they thought of you that you were so big and so grand. Arjuna, the scorcher of foes. Yasyasi lagavam. Now you will attain this smallness, this littleness. They will think that you're so small, you're so little, you're a coward. They who thought really big of you will now think you're a coward. So it translates like this. The great battalion commanders will think that you have withdrawn from the battle through fear, and you will be lightly held by them who have thought so much of you and your heroism in the past. So here, what's really painful now with fame, now he's going to fame from the standpoint of those who respect us. So Maharatha, like Bhishma, Drona, Shalya, all of these great commanders, they think really great of Arjuna. And in fact, the only two people in their mind is Bhima and Arjuna. The only two people they're really concerned about is Bhima and Arjuna, because they know they will put up a fight. And so they think so big of you. Now what will happen is you will become very small in their eyes. And that's very painful for us. When the ones that we love, that we care for, when the ones that we love and we care for, all of a sudden we're so big. They honor us, they respect us, and we do something, we become so small in their eyes. And it becomes very hard to gain their trust again. It becomes very hard to make amends with them again. what do you do? That becomes so painful in our lives. Now, this is just from a practical standpoint from this verse. When this happens, we make mistakes, and Arjuna is very lucky that he has Sri Krishna here who's preventing him from making a great mistake. But there are times we will make mistakes. We will all fall, we will all slip. But our Upanishad says something so beautiful. It says, Charai veti, charai veti. Means just keep walking. That's all. Just keep walking. Don't think that, we've done something so wrong and we were so small now in the eyes of the people around us that there's no hope for us. There's nothing. What do we do? Keep walking and keep walking, and the path becomes clearer. Because every day is an opportunity to better ourselves. And that is a wonderful opportunity to have. So in this way, he says, Arjuna, just look at this. Look at what they will say about you. Now, he says, if you, and just as a context also, if you're thinking of retreating, do it at the right time, in the right way. That's why we have our ashramas, right? We have our ashramas, our different brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa, etc. At the right time, then one can retreat. But you're in the midst of the battle. You're already there. You must stay and you must fight. We cannot take up something, take up a family life, take up a career, take up a position, take up a responsibility, and in between, we cannot out of fear say, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. We cannot. That's why it is said, think 1,000 times before you start something. But once you start, you better see it through. You cannot run. You have to face it. We took it on, take it fully. It will get hard. We will make mistakes, but keep walking. So in this way, Lord Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, you please keep going. Please keep going so that you can still be high in the eyes of those who honor you. Now, Lord Krishna will speak from the standpoint of ill fame from the enemy side. So we will now see verse 36. Avachya vadanscha bahun.
Avachya vadanscha bahun.
Vadishyanti tavahitaha.
Vadishyanti tavahitaha.
Nindantastava samarthyam.
Nindandastavam samarthyam.
Tato dukkhataram nukim.
Tato dukkataram nukim.
Avachya vadanscha bahun. Vadishyanti tavahitaha. Nindantastava samarthyam. Tato dukkhataram nukim. Then he says, what about your enemies or those who do not wish well for you? Tava ahitaha. Ahitaha means, hita means well-wisher. Ahitaha, those who don't wish well for you. Your enemies, what will they do? Vadishyanti. Vadishyanti means they will speak. What will they speak? Avachya vadanscha bahun. Many words which are unspeakable. Lord Krishna is saying, I can't even speak those words. They're such foul language that they're going to speak. They're going to mock you. Nindantaha tava samarthyam. Criticizing your abilities. Tataha dukkataram nukim. What could be more sorrowful than this? So he says, many unspeakable words will your enemies speak. caviling your powers or criticizing your powers. What can there be more painful than this? So imagine who Duryodhana, Karna, Dushasana, all of them will speak so ill of you. They'll criticize you. They'll call you coward. This is something that soldiers, kshatriyas, temperament, they cannot take. They cannot take when somebody criticizes them. They scold them. They say bad things about them. They cannot take it. So Lord Krishna is saying this is going to happen. They're going to say, oh, this Arjuna, what happened? He was so scared and then he just ran away from battle. What happened to all his splendor, his courage, all of his words? What, they didn't mean anything? Arjuna will be the hot topic in their Kshatriya party, in their Kaurava party. Hot topic will be Arjuna's samarthya, Arjuna's powers, that they're so weak. So in this way, Lord Krishna says, see, all of this will happen to you from the standpoint of fame. So even from the standpoint of guarding your fame, your honor, which is so valuable for a soldier, you should fight. You should still fight. Then Lord Krishna realizes that one more doubt could still remain with Arjuna. One more doubt could still remain. And what would that doubt be? In verse number 6, in chapter 2 itself, there was a doubt that Arjuna had. You see, Lord Krishna, he doesn't leave anything. That's also very wonderful. There in verse number 6, Arjuna says, I don't know which is better, that they should defeat us or we should defeat them. And even the sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying whom we do not wish to live, they stand facing us. So Lord Krishna remembers this. He remembers this portion and he says, okay, I'm going to answer this question of Arjuna because it's still lingering in his mind. So he says, Hato va prapsyasi swargam.
Hato va prapsyasi swargam.
Jitva va bhokshase mahim.
Jitva va bhokshase mahim.
Tasmaduttishta kaunteya.
Tasmad uttishta kaunteya.
Yuddhaya krita nishchaya.
Yuddhaya krita nishchayah.
Hato va prapsyasi swargam. Jitva va bhokshase mahim. Tasmaduttishta kaunteya. Yuddhaya krita nishchaya. So he says, Hataha. If you are slain, prapsyasi swargam. If you are slain, you will gain heaven. Jitva, swargam jitva means if you are slain, having conquered, jitva, having conquered, bhokshase mahim. So having conquered, bhokshase means you will enjoy mahim, the earth. Therefore, he says, tasmat, therefore, uttishta kaunteya, therefore get up, Arjuna, Kunti's son, yudhaya krita nishchayaha, get up for the fight, yudhaya krita nishchayaha, with such resolve. How does this translate? Slain, you will obtain heaven. Hatova prapsisi swargam. Victorious, you will enjoy the earth. Therefore, stand up, O son of Kunti, resolved to fight. So if you were wondering which is better, if they win or if we win, don't think about it. Because if you are slain in the battlefield, you will earn heaven. You will earn a heavenly realm. And if you win in the battlefield, you will be able to conquer this earth. You will be able to enjoy this rule. So in both ways, it's a win-win situation. So therefore, he says, Tasmad, therefore, Arjuna. Therefore meaning what? Therefore from verse 11. Therefore, I have answered your questions through and through from all standpoints. Lord Krishna said, I have answered from the self standpoint. I've answered from the Jivatma. I've answered from the body. I've answered from the standpoint of dharma. I've answered from the standpoint of fame, of honor. I have answered your question from every single standpoint. Everything that you thought about, everything that you wondered, I have spoken. Therefore, Uttishta, get up. Get up. And he says, Kaunteya, you're Kunti Devi's son. Imagine if you went back to Kunti Devi and said, I can't fight. Oh, she'll throw a fit and she'll send you right back out. So please remember whose son you are. You're Kunti Devi's son. She's a Kshatriya woman. Or she will not also tolerate you coming back. She will push you out. So, Yudhaya for this war now, Krita Nishchayaha. You please now be determined. Make your own determination. In verse 7, Arjuna says, Yat Shreyasyat Nishchitam Bruhitanme. You tell me determinedly, tell me in a way that I can understand what is Shreyas. And so Lord Krishna is saying, I have told you now everything. Now with that firm determination, you determine it for yourself. You think for yourself. And get up. So in this way, we all have our own battles in life. We have our own battles in life. When Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, you fight the war, you fight the war. Please don't think Bhagavad Gita is telling all of us, fight war, fight war. Please don't think that. What it's saying here, and Gurudev also makes it very clear, we all have our own battles in life. We are all going through something or the other. Nobody is spared. Nobody is spared. Everybody has something. But this, we cannot just run away. We cannot just drop it. We cannot just leave it. We have to get up and face it, no matter what happens. Face it. Now, one might think that Bhagavad Gita should end here. Isn't it? This was Arjuna's whole question. I cannot fight. I'm breaking down. My lips are shaking. My head's trembling. My hands are just, they're shaking up. I'm sitting down. I don't know what to do. And one might think that, wow, finished. Lord Krishna answered his question. But Lord Krishna is so gracious because he says, now I think Arjuna needs a little bit more. Because to face life, to face our challenges in everyday life, whether it's a mistake that we've committed, whether it's death that we have gone through, whether we have our own bodily suffering, whether it's stress, whatever it is in our daily life, it's tough to face. So Lord Krishna says, let me tell you how to face life. This advice he also gives Arjuna. This is a very, very beautiful verse, verse number 38. Okay. Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Labha labhau jaya jayau.
Labha labhau jaya jayau.
Tato yudhaya yujyasva.
Tato yudhaya yujyasva.
Naivam papamavapsyasi.
Naivam papamavapsyasi.
Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yudhaya yujyasva. Naivam papamavapsyasi. So he tells Arjuna, this is the attitude to which you should face life. He says, Sukha dukhe same kritva. Same kritva is making them even. Having made them the same. Having made what the same? Sukha and dukkha, joy and sorrow. Labha, alabho. Labha means gain. Alabha means loss. Jaya, ajaya. Jaya means victory. Ajaya means defeat. It becomes jaya, jaya because it's a dual. And labha, labho, sukha, dukkhe because it's dual. He says, Tataha, therefore, yudhaya yujyasva, engage in this battle. And in this way, evam na papam avapsyasi, you shall not incur sin. So how does this read? Having made pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat the same, you engage in battle for the sake of battle. And you shall win. And you shall not incur sin. So this is very interesting because he says, before you enter anything, it says same kritva, having made everything equal, then you engage. Then you engage in whatever we have to do in life. Many times, we say, okay, be equanimous, let everything go, let go of the results, do all of that. But the point is, you can only let go of the results in the end if you do it in the beginning. If we're going to act and then expect that, okay, I'll let go of the results, it doesn't happen that way. So Lord Krishna says, first look at this. Victory and defeat. The first pair. Victory and defeat, right, will lead to gain and loss. And that gain and loss will lead to joy and sorrow. What do you mean? So let's just take victory, for example. When one is victorious, yes, I did it, I made it, then what happens is there's gain. There's gain for the country, there's gain for the company, the family, the community. And when there's gain, people are very happy. I say, yes, we're so happy. When there's defeat, I lost, I fell, I failed. Then what happens is there's defeat, there's loss for everybody. So the defeat could be my defeat, but it's a loss for everybody, right? Because every single action affects everybody else. And so that individual defeat will have a loss for so many people, so many things. And then it will lead to sorrow. So one leads to the other. So the trick in this verse is, what is really this same kritva? What is same kritva? Is make everything equanimous. Make everything equanimous. Meaning, Lord Krishna is saying, don't fight or don't engage in life with the sense that, I hope I get it. I hope I win. I hope I achieve this. I hope I do this. I hope I do that. And don't also engage in life with like, I hope this doesn't happen to me, or I hope I don't get this, or I hope I don't run into this, out of fear. So sometimes we have these hopes that I hope this happens. I hope this happens. And there's such hope in that. And then there's fear. I hope this doesn't happen. I hope this shouldn't happen to me. And so when we engage in life, we're always shaky. We're always shaky because either we want to gain something, we want to win something, or we're afraid of something happening to us, or afraid to be let down. And when we're afraid to be let down, so often we don't engage. So Lord Krishna is almost telling Arjuna, what is the secret to equanimity? Don't fight to win. Don't fight to lose, but fight for me. That's what Lord Krishna is saying. We can only be equanimous if we are engaging in something that is selfless. If we hope to be equanimous when we're engaging in something selfish, if I want to gain something for me and hope to be equanimous, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. Equanimity and selfishness, they don't go hand in hand. So if in life I'm wondering, Why am I not able to stay balanced? Why can't I be equanimous? Why can't I just be calm? Well, think, was my motive selfish or selfless? Because when we're doing for Bhagavan, when we're doing for the sake of the divine, then you can let go. You're saying it's for God. Whatever God wants to happen will happen. So that is the secret of equanimity. Equanimity and selflessness, they go together. So therefore, he's saying, before the action itself, don't think you're fighting for yourself, Arjuna. Don't think you're fighting so you can be this big warrior hero. No. And don't fight thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose. I'm so scared. Fight for me. Fight for me. And you will be equanimous. You'll say, this is for Bhagavan. I'm able to let go. When we say, this is for me, this is for my family, we won't be able to let go. Must be a greater, a wider picture. And the beauty then about acting in this way, here he's giving the seed or the bija for karma yoga, because karma yoga will come in the next section of this chapter. And the beauty about this is when we convert our karma into karma yoga, then we will see more about karma yoga when it comes. It's always a win-win scenario, because we're never really engaging on action to gain something material, to gain fame, to gain wealth, to gain comfort. We're engaging in action to gain growth and purity. So if ever is one child, I remember, asked one time in Bal Vihar, why should we work hard? We should work hard. One of the reasons is because it helps us grow. It helps us purify. So even outwardly, if it looks like it's a loss for a business or the loss of something, or outwardly it's a gain of something, inwardly, as long as we're growing, it's always a win. It's always a win if we grow. Whether outside it looks like a loss or not, that's a different matter. But inside, are we becoming purer? Are we growing? Then it's a win. Because life is about evolution. And it's not about anything else. So in this way, Lord Krishna gives him this advice. So I'll just summarize what we've done today. The next verse, he's going to make a division between what he has just talked about and what is yet to come. Beautiful verses on Karma Yoga are to come in this chapter that we shall see next week. Okay? So today, very beautifully, Lord Krishna, he entered now, striking Arjuna's heart, saying that, look, if you don't fight, you are letting go of your swadharma, your dharma, your aptitude, your tendency. You're letting go of that. And you're also going to let go of your fame. And he says, now fame for a soldier is so, so precious. And as we talked about, people could go on and on in their lives doing so much good work. One wrong thing they do, they get known for that. That alone stands out. That alone accompanies their biodata. They are known by that alone. Avyayam. And that doesn't only transfer to them, it transfers to their children, to their grandchildren. If it's an organization, it transfers. The whole organization can get a blemish because of one act. You please see, this is very, very, it is a great thing in preserving our kirti, our fame. So he says, please don't even think about that. Imagine what will happen. And to a warrior, dishonor is greater than death for a warrior. And he says, Arjuna, those people who are thinking so highly of you, they're going to think you're so small. Imagine Bhishma, Drona, in their eyes, they are thinking, how will we fight this war if Arjuna's there? They're going to think that you're so small. You're cowardly. That's very painful. And further, those Duryodhana, the Karna, all of them, what will they do? What will they think? They will mock you. They will say these words which are unspeakable. I can't even say what they're going to say. They will really mock you. So therefore, think about it from that standpoint. And if you are thinking whether it's better if you win or if they win, both ways is win-win. Both ways. One way you will get Swarga. If you die, you will attain heaven. And if you win on earth and live, then you will be able to enjoy this kingdom. And so therefore, get up, Arjuna. Get up. And so he's telling, Lord Krishna is telling us, get up and get up and face life. There's a lot we have to do. But with what attitude? With the attitude of equanimity. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. And we can only be equanimous is if in the beginning, the motive of our action is selfless. It's for God. We're not doing anything to win, to lose, to be famous, to gain money, to gain comfort. We're just doing it for God. And in doing for God, realistically speaking, we always win, because the win is the growth and the purity of the individual, because that will help us evolve further in this journey of life. Okay, so today we stop here. I'll say the closing prayer. And of course, if people have questions, you can, stay back and please ask. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.